Bluebirds fly.
Please rise to receive the family.
Fly over the rainbow, white and white and tight. Oh, someday I wish on the stars, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top, that's where
You will please be seated.
find me somewhere over the rainbow. Birds fly, birds fly over the rainbow, white and white and tight. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Me, where trouble melts like lemon drop, high above the chimney top, that's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Skies are blue, and the dreams that you dream of, all dreams really do come true.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today to celebrate the life of Lorna Lawson. Sorry. It's an honor to be asked to participate in today's service. My name is Trish Jordan. I wore color today because Lorna said no black. She liked bright colors. I'm close friends with Brian and Norvell, and through them, I was very fortunate to get to know Lorna and Glenn and their wonderful family. I was lucky to have visits to the farm in Miami and sit in Lorna's special garden and fire pit area. I was fortunate to spend time with the family at Gimli over the last number of summers. And last summer, I had a wonderful visit with Brian Arvell, Lorna and Glenn, Josh and Ben out in Manville, and with Josh's grandparents. It's my last time I spent with Lorna. And it's a lasting memory I will not forget. When Arvell, Brian, and my husband Mark hiked out of the Grand Canyon several years ago, there was a loose plan to meet them. I said, there's no way I'm driving up to the trailhead to meet them, but Glenn and Lorna had a big welcome sign all ready to go. But the crew beat them out before they could get there at the trailhead to meet them. But we had a great time sharing stories and welcoming everyone out. We weren't quite sure they would make it, well, other than Brian, of course. Lorna and I share a love for the Winnipeg Jets and for curling. She watched and attended so many Scotties, Briers, and World Championships. She had a passion for these pursuits among many others, and it was lovely to see her enjoy her time cheering on her favorite teams. I shared some tickets with Glenn and Lorna, and I shared some pre-game suppers at Rudy's prior to the Jets games, and I always laughed that we had to go extra early as everyone must be in their seats in time for pre-game warm-up, and you did not argue with Lorna. She was a lovely person who pursued life with enthusiasm, curiosity, and gratefulness. Today you will hear many wonderful memories from family and friends who knew Lorna much more deeply than I did, and they have all cooperated to give Lorna the send-off she deserves and would want. I would now like to call on Paul Lawson, Lorna's son, to share some poems about his mom. Paul?
Lorna. L for loving. O for original. R for respectful. N for Nana, Grandma, and nature. A for attentive and author. L for loving. Our mom gave and showed love to everything that she connected with, which led to her showing appreciation to everything too. Just like the eagle, if she couldn't connect in person, she would send her love another way by any means necessary. She would welcome anyone into her space and make them feel secure and comfortable. Another way our mom showed love was her phenomenal ability to listen, assess, and evaluate information. A skill set that she also maximized during her career with the RCMP. Once our mom took in all of the information, she would share her opinion, which allowed us and many others to see a path and move forward with a decision. The hardest part, which she always did with grace, was to respect the decision even when she might not have agreed with it. Since we were born, our mom has given us boundless love, which has helped all of us experience success and love in our lives. O for original. Our mom was not afraid to try new things, and if she was, she would try them anyways. Our mom also followed her heart and did not let others sway her decisions. This helped us feel protected and gave us confidence to attempt new endeavors. Here are a few examples of our mom being original. Going to the Queen Charlotte Islands as a 20-year-old woman from the prairies, ready to take on the ocean and island life. This experience became truly inspirational once we were old enough to understand what a huge and impactful experience it was for our mom. Our mom was also the first person I knew to use walking poles instead of a cane and a walker. It would be interesting to know how many people she has helped see the light and make the switch to poles too. Considering all of the people she would encourage or talk to about the benefits of them at the various events that she attended over the years. No matter how many times someone would say, "Where are you skiing today?" or "The mountains are that way," our mom would just carry on and reply with something like, "I wouldn't want to use anything else," or she would take the time to explain her story and describe the benefits of using the poles. Another way our mom was original was using meditation in her daily life. We appreciated how open our mom was about sharing different meditation practices and how she adapted them to work for her. We enjoyed reading the Sacred Forest Oracle cards, and we look forward to trying the horse and colored cards too. R for respectful. This one ties back to how our mom showed appreciation to everything and everyone she came in contact with. From saying thank you for any gesture, regardless of how small or big, to saying, "Hello, Mr. Nuthatch," or thank you to animals as they perched around her fireplace, or provided comfort to our mom in another way. Our mom was always respectful of people's decisions, even when she knew that there was a better path. Our mom provided great insight and support to people when they were in need of it and allowed them to weigh the options so that they could make their own conclusions. N for Nana, Grandma, and Nature. When our mom was transitioned to palliative care and various professionals were coming in to talk with her and us as a family, she coined the term, two turned into a few. Our mom would glow when she was called Grandma and Nana. Our mom would beam with pride whenever she shared stories of her 3 granddaughters, 3 grandsons, and 4 great-grandsons. And for nature, because our mom instilled the benefits and beauty of nature in all of us. From all of the camping trips, fires, listening to the wood crackling, leaves talking, staying up late to watch the moon and stars are all precious moments. Our mom's knowledge of birds was uncanny. We were always impressed with how she could name a bird by sight as well as sound. Because of our mom, we now know what an American redstart looks and sounds like. A for attentive and author. Our mom would be the first one to compliment a new shirt or a fresh haircut. She might have complimented 20-plus nurses on their new scrubs as they walked into her room to do their incredible work. Our mom would always remember people's interests, and if she could assist or support them in some way, she would. We could also rely on our mom to provide us with key dates, names, places, or remind us of specific details from different events. Before there was Google, people would say, "Ask Lorna." Our mom was an extremely talented author, poet, and writer. Our mom would always write the sweetest and heartfelt messages for any occasion. Apprehensive at first, as she said she had not wrote poetry before, but she wrote a wonderful Diamante poem in the hospital about her favorite bird, the eagle, which I will share after this. With the help of my sister, Arvel, our mom also wrote a book compiled of meaningful events and stories from her life. I am looking forward to reading her book in its entirety. Such a huge accomplishment, and we were so happy that our mom could see and hold the finished product. Now I will share our mom's Diamante poem, titled Eagle, written by Lorna Lawson. Eagle, magnificent, powerful, soaring, floating, gliding, beady eyes, talons, white feathers, black feathers, landing gear, enjoying, discovering, strong, beautiful, overtaken by the beauty of the whole bird. I will leave you with our mom's mantra. Arvel and I would say these affirmations to her when she needed encouragement, at bedtime, or when visiting hours were over. Mom's mantra was, I am strong. I am brave. I am protected. I am safe. I am smart. I am beautiful. I am kind. I have courage. I am loved. I am doing my best. I hope your heart is warm and fuzzy, Mom. I love you, Mom, to the moon and back. I would now like to call on retired Sergeant Gary Carr to read a story of a public servant written by Inspector Ian Parsons.
Thank you very much. It's my honor and privilege to say a few words. Most of them at the beginning are mine, and the rest are all Ian's. And first off, Ian sent me a letter, and he did give me a little bit of forewarning that he was having a hard time talking on the phone, so he put it all on paper. So Ian was our officer commanding of Carmen subdivision, and his wife, that he's still married to, is Lynn, who's from the Miami area. Now, Lorna was responsible for Lynn and Ian getting married. Ian came to Carmen, Manitoba, as the officer commanding of the Carmen district, which took in places like Manitou, where I was stationed, and other locales within the Portage Prairie and whatnot in the Carmen area. Ian had to go to a service in Winnipeg that involved all the officers, and everyone was married except for Ian. So he spoke to Lorna, and Lorna said, "I know somebody," and that was Lynn. So she gave him Lynn's phone number, and he phoned her and asked her out on a blind date. She said, "Sure, I'll go." And she went, and they were still together. They went to it and had a great time. And now he said, and I'm going to have to put my glasses on for this one, because, well, it was a 37-year marriage. They're still married. So having said that, I will read what Ian sent to me, and I don't want to bore anybody, but this gives you an idea of her work ethic as a public service for the RCMP in Manitoba. And this is the story of a public service, and this is what he wrote. "Public servants have been an integral part of the RCMP for decades. They can be found at every level of the organization, and without them the force would grind to a halt. Their work is often behind the scenes. This is the story of but one such federal employee. The structure known as Winnipeg subdivision of the RCMP was deemed to be too large, and it was broken down into 4 separate areas, one being Carmen. There were 7 detachments, RCMP detachments, with 110 personnel. In the spring of 1986, Ian had recently arrived in Manitoba from St. John's, Newfoundland, and was given the assignment of officer commanding Carmen subdivision. He reported to the commanding officer, was given an unmarked car, and dispatched to Carmen. Upon his arrival, he found a small office space in the local federal building, which housed the post office and the Department of Agriculture veterinarian. The office assigned to the RCMP consists of 2 desks, a chair, and a bank of empty file cabinets. His first task was to interview candidates for the position of stenographer/clerk. He was fortunate to learn that a local woman, Lorna, had been a former RCMP public servant with the qualifications necessary for the job. She was hired to fill the position. Undaunted by the task, she immediately set to work, required to meld the 7 detachments into a single entity. In 1986, the computer was evolving. Only those who worked with a manual RCMP filing system would understand the complexity and the time involved. And I'll just mention that we had a few retired RCMP members here, and one serving member that's in red shirt that's down east, but he came for the funeral. Now, the normal management structure was a subdivision senior NCO and a traveling NCO, but they were not part of the new structure. As officer commanding, Ian had no supervisory assistants. It was Lorna and Ian. Initially, Lorna worked many extra hours setting up the subdivision office. As much of his daily activity was traveling to various detachments, Lorna held the fort in his absence, answering numerous phone calls and inquiries representing the office during these calls. It didn't take long for the 7 detachment commanders, myself being one, and many of the members to realize that they had a jewel in Lorna. She never had a bad day, solved and facilitated many issues when speaking with the members. It soon became evident that Lorna had radar-like qualities. I think the radar speaks to the TV series where radar could do and be everything to everybody. So, in fact, members phoning Lorna began to expect nurturing and counseling as part of her routine. She ultimately became my subdivision or Ian's subdivision and section NCO and personnel officer, all rolled into one. As in any bureaucratic structure, some decisions are not as popular as others. Lorna had the ability to explain the rationale behind decisions, thereby deflecting many feelings of frustration. Her knowledge of RCMP procedure was comprehensive, and he would receive constant feedback of the high level of satisfaction members received when calling the subdivision office and speaking with Lorna. As time elapsed, new, smaller RCMP subdivision structures began to evolve and grow. There was a new RCMP member, a section NCO, that was added. These additions tended to place public servants like Lorna in a less proactive profile. Her task became confined to the more clerical portion of the operation. Her contact was personnel was less, and she was relegated to the internal running of the office. During the first years of the Carmen subdivision, the ultimate success of the experiment would not have been possible without this indispensable employee. Lorna is a classic example of the nucleus of people working every day in the RCMP who are low profile and receive little recognition for the vital work they do every day. The uniformed members reap the prestige while the public servants toil in the background, keeping the wheels of justice oiled and functioning. Ian is so indebted to Lorna, and in addition to her in-office capabilities, she introduced me, that would be Ian, to the woman who was to become his treasured wife of 38 years. So that's what Ian sent, and he wanted to make sure that I read most of it, which I did. Ian was a super officer commanding, and he had a super public service working for him. She was great. Anytime I phoned, she would get me an answer, and if she couldn't get it, she would call back quite soon, quite quickly. So, as I said at the beginning, it's my honor and privilege to be able to say these words on behalf of Ian, and I will be phoning him and telling him that I did what he asked, and I'm proud that I did. Thank you.
I'm now going to call on our family and friends of Lorna's who will deliver the eulogy. Gwen Lawson, Joyce Dawson, Debbie Norquist, and Beth Christian. Please come on.
My name is Gwen Lawson. I'm a friend of Lorna's. We gather today not to mourn the loss, not only to mourn the loss of our dear friend Lorna, but to celebrate the gift of her life. How she enriched our lives, made us laugh, made us think, and stood by us always. Lorna grew up on a farm outside of Roland, Manitoba, and was proud to come from here. She kept in touch with people she knew here and was always interested in the town's happenings. It is fitting that we are back in Roland to remember her today. On the Brown family farm, Lorna developed her love of trees, animals, birds, and open spaces. Her dad told his 3 daughters that if any one of them learned to ride the farm horse, she could have a horse of her own. Lorna was the only one to achieve this and loved going on long rides on her Arabian mare, often with her dad. Her affection for horses lasted a lifetime, and she wept with delight when Paul and Arvell gave her a painting of a horse at Christmas years later. After high school, Lorna completed her medical secretary training. She worked first in southern Manitoba and then in Haida Gwaii, British Columbia. Though Haida Gwaii and the beauty and culture of the West Coast were very dear to her, she decided to move back to Manitoba and married Glenn in 1979. Lorna and Glenn were married for 46 years, and those years were never dull. The two of them didn't always have the same interests, but supported each other in their activities regardless. Glenn was dedicated to his beautiful kept yard and huge garden. Lorna was not. Still, she did her part by canning and freezing tons of produce each year. That is, until the day she was blending tomato juice and forgot to put the lid on the blender. Tomato juice all over the ceiling. After that, Glenn took over that job. Lorna loved her bird feeders and the fire pit by the creek. It was her retreat, her therapy, and her favorite spot to socialize. She enjoyed it all 4 seasons of the year. She loved basking in the fresh air and the bird song, her pots of flowers, the company of friends and family, and her beloved cats and dogs. Glenn was less keen. He supplied mountains of firewood for her, a dry spot to store it, and for their 25th wedding anniversary, he and Paul fixed up a lovely fireside site for Lorna with crushed rock and comfortable furniture. Lorna and Glenn also differed at times on the importance of shopping. Lorna loved to shop. On one back-to-school shopping trip, she and Arvel found so many great school outfits that they sneaked them into the house and added them to Arvel's rotation gradually so that Glenn wouldn't realize how many they had bought. Lorna loved both giving and receiving birthday gifts, which made for more excellent reasons to shop. After her passing, Glenn worried that the Miami post office might suffer from losing the multiple Amazon parcels that arrived for Lorna each week. Amazon might even go broke.
Hello, I am Joyce Dawson, a friend of Lorna's. Thanks to astute shopping, Lorna always looked great. She was a sharp dresser, and as one of her grandchildren admiringly called her, a diva of the best sort. With colorful, stylish outfits complete with unique jewelry, she was the envy of all her friends. Although, when Paul was a baby, he ripped a pierced earring right through her ear, and she never wore pierced earrings again. That's a boy for you. Despite whatever incidental damage they may have done to her, Lorna was a loving and exceptionally dedicated mother to Arvel and Paul. She made many other moms feel guilty because she was so faithful in attending her kids' games, events, and even practices. An enthusiastic cheerleader, she and Jennifer Lawson made the rafters ring at hockey and ringette games with their leather mitten, synchronized, very loud clapping routine. Lorna not only attended her kids' events, she became involved in them, sewing costumes and skating outfits, making buns, cookies, and casseroles, serving as a 4-H leader and as school band association president, doing whatever needed to make it all work. Lorna was proud of her kids' achievements in school and their activities, and later in their successful careers. Arbel as business unit lead for Alberta and BC with Bear Crop Science, and Paul as a popular and respected school teacher in Crystal City. As time went on, she cherished the way her relationships with her children matured into adult friendships, strong, loving, and equal. Mind you, regardless of age, they were still her kids. Even in the final days in the hospital, she worried whether Arbel had enough blankets and a comfortable pillow for the night watch beside her. It wasn't only Lorna's own children who benefited from her caring and family-focused nature. Nieces, nephews, and young friends were all welcomed into her home and warmed by her smile. Several grew so close to her, they thought of her as a second mother. And when Arbel and Paul grew up, chose partners, and introduced their chosen families to Lorna, she welcomed them all to the family with a wholehearted delight. Lorna took enormous pleasure in her children and grandchildren. She loved, supported, and accepted them wholly. And of course, at every opportunity, fed them her famous flax buns. When she was at Arbel and Brian's for Cody's graduation, she not only drove a very excited and mischievous carload of young men to the festivities, but stayed up late to make buns for them to help ward off hangovers that might be threatening the next morning. And even when she was too tired and ill to join in a Zoom call with her daughter-in-law, Teresa's family, a great-grandchild's plea of, "Nana, Nana, Nana," brought Lorna up and over to the screen with a smile. She was truly a dedicated grandma.
I'm Beth Cruikshank, another one of Lorna's friends. She had a lot of them. While she was raising her family, Lorna worked as a public servant with the RCMP. Lorna was proud of and dedicated to her job with the Mounties, even though there were times when it was challenging for her. There were cases that they dealt with that were very hard for her, especially when it involved families. She was absolute, though, in keeping every detail confidential. And sometimes that wasn't easy either, when friends and neighbors would be pressing her for a little more information on what really was going on. As well as her administrative work, Lorna served as a union rep nationally for the RCMP support staff, and she was respected there by her colleagues as being calm, steadfast, and loyal in that role. Lorna had great respect for the RCMP members she worked with, and many of them became friends. When young recruits were assigned to D Division, Lorna and Glenn took them under their wing, inviting them over for meals, giving them packages of food to take back with them, and providing support when they needed it. And whenever the news came of a Mountie being seriously injured or killed in the line of duty, Lorna was devastated. She grieved for each of them as though they were members of her own family. She was proud to be part of the team that risked so much and worked so hard to maintain law and order and keep our community safe. And Lorna was very much a valued part of that team. In 2002, which was the 50th anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's ascent to the throne, a Queen's Jubilee Medal was awarded to Canadians who made outstanding and exemplary contributions to their communities and to Canada as a whole. Lorna received that medal in recognition of her professional community work with D Division. It was a fitting tribute to her 36 and a half years of dedicated service with the RCMP.
I'm Debbie. Lorna told me I was her favorite. Once Lorna retired, she had more time to pursue her favorite interests. For one thing, she was a huge fan of curling and traveled across Canada to cheer on her favorite teams. And nothing gave her more joy or more pleasure than a trip to the Briar or to the Scotties, especially with a good friend to share the fun and a chance to collect a few autographs and souvenir pins afterwards. Lorna and Glenn were also avid Jets fans and would become so excited and vocal about the games on TV that when their son Brian was there, son-in-law Brian was there, he got more fun out of watching them than the game. Lorna was a huge collector, not only at curling events and Jets games, but also at concerts and shows from Winnipeg to Newfoundland, to Edmonton and to Vegas, to name a few. Souvenirs from all those many, many events were purchased and cherished, along with her collections of bobbleheads, seasonal decor, RCMP wine glasses, crystal ornaments, and many other treasures. Lorna loved traveling and eagerly looked forward to every new adventure, despite the health problems that sometimes plagued her. She greatly enjoyed the family gatherings at Pelican Lake, Gimli, and Steep Rock, and trips with friends to New York, Las Vegas, Arizona, and the Mayan Riviera. She really loved her times in Parksville, BC, holidaying with Glenn, Orville, and Brian, her sisters, Emily and Berna, and their husbands and extended family. She enjoyed the ocean walks and sights. It was a special time. In 2023, Lorna had the joy of returning after 50 years to Haida Gwaii along with Orville and Brian, where she connected with old friends and reveled again in the rugged West Coast beauty she had loved in her youth. In all her travels, Lorna was appreciative of nature around her, and she spent hours hiking, enjoying the flowers, wildlife, mountains, and water. When walking became difficult, she resorted to a set of hiking poles and determinedly trudged miles with them. A night owl, she was happy to stay up late and watch sunsets, the stars, or meteor showers with family. Lorna often said how lucky she was to have such a wonderful circle of friends. She was a great friend herself, always dependable, caring, and good-natured. She enjoyed every gathering, large or small, and always added to the fun with her lively conversation and infectious laugh. And to everyone's delight, she often brought buns. She was famous for those buns, which showed up at events at the church and community hall, as well as the homes of family and friends, and were always received with enthusiasm. When the party was at Lorna and Glenn's home, they were invariably great hosts. Whether it was a large dinner party or a small casual gathering around her beloved fire pit, their guests could always count on a warm welcome, lovely decor, and an entertaining conversation with lots of laughter. And with Lorna's baking and Glenn's cooking, the food was always superb. Recently, Lorna wrote a personal memoir book and had it printed to her family, for her family to whom it was dedicated. Her children's births, her most influential person, her most romantic times are some of the chapters. It's a lovely memento of her life and will be treasured. What family and friends all carry now is a mix of grief and gratitude. Grief for time lost, gratitude for the time we had together. We'll miss you, Lorna, but your spirit lives on in all of us. In her stories, in her choices, and the way we show up for people we love. Thank you, Lorna, for being part of our lives.
Thank you so much, Gwen, Joyce, Debbie, and Beth, for sharing those wonderful memories. I'm now going to ask for a moment of silence, please, before we move into our slideshow memories. Thank you.
had their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all. But of all these friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you. And these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. Though I know I'll never lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. In my life, I love you more.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver soul of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with a hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Walk on with a hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right, and how could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Holding you, I held everything. For a moment, wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, hey, who's to say? You know I might have changed it all. And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Yes, my life is better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. I took the supermarket flyers from the windowsill. I threw the day old tea from the cup. Packed up the photo album Matthew had made, memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cars and stuffed animals, poured the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down, but Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up, but I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. When God takes you back, He'll say hallelujah, you're home. Fluffed the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up, folded your nightgowns neatly in a case. John said he'd drive, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know a is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You are an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, you'll say hallelujah, you're home. Hallelujah. You are an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, He said hallelujah, you're home. One day you'll look to see I've gone, for tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. Someday you'll know I was the one, but tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. And now the time has come, and so my love I must go. And though I lose a friend, in the end you will know. Oh, one day you'll find that I have gone, but tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. Yeah, tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. And now the time has come, and so my love I must go. And though I lose a friend, in the end you will know. Oh, one day you'll find that I have gone, but tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun.
Thank you, everyone. That was lovely. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today to celebrate Lorna's life. We're so thankful that you came to share memories and spend time with family and friends. Before we file out, I just wanted to welcome everyone to the lunch over at the Roland Community Hall. Following lunch, anyone is welcome at the cemetery in Miami, but the family also understands that it might not work for everybody due to travel plans and other commitments. So if you're not able to make it, that's okay. For lunch at the hall, the family will be walking over to the hall to welcome everybody for lunch. So please give them a few moments to transition, and then we'll meet you all over there. Thank you once again. And Lorna, I'm glad I got her that last bobblehead doll. Thank you.
care for music, do you? Goes like this, the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
Please rise as we exit.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Faith was strong, but she needed proof. Saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair, she broke your throne, she cut your hair, and from her lips she drew hallelujah, hallelujah.